If you're choosing where to live in Kuala Lumpur, you're probably thinking about price, convenience, and location. But that, my friend, isn't really the full picture. Where you live doesn't just affect where you go, it shapes how your daily life actually feels. Your routine, your movement, and even how easy or spacious your life becomes here over time. And after living here, I've noticed it's not really about location. It's about how you end up living here day to day. In this video today, I will show you how that plays out across one MRT line and how to avoid choosing a place that doesn't fit how you actually want to live. Okay, so people choose where to live in Kuala Lumpur based on practical factors, right? Think of things such as being near an MRT station, conveniences close to where you live, such as shopping malls, how easy it is to get the Grab services such as Grab Food and Grab Taxi. And this is natural, right? You may find yourself also thinking about different neighbourhoods of the city, KLCC or Bukit Bintang if you want somewhere in the city centre, or if you're thinking more of a suburbs vibe, places such as Mont, Damansara, Desa Park City, TDDI, and all of these types of places. And you're just looking for the most logically best fit decision for you, right? You're thinking about these conveniences and thinking about the location and how it kind of impacts these parts of your life. And you're looking at these type of decisions to try and optimize your lifestyle, right? And the convenience factors that exist in these type of neighborhoods. But what you may find yourself not thinking about are the kind of these like little nuances that you need to be planning about with your day-to-day life. Things such as, will you be walking more or using the public infrastructure? How often you'll leave your apartment, and also the greater neighborhood that you're living in. And also whether your lifestyle is going to be more on the passive side or active side. These are things to consider, because really what you're doing at the end of the day is you're not really choosing a neighbourhood, but you're actually selecting a type of lifestyle that you'd like to live. So today, my friend, what we're going to do is we're going to explore all of these different small little pockets of a neighbourhood known as Damansara. It's in the suburban part of Kuala Lumpur, and there's all these different kind of areas along this one MRT stretch. Each has its own different vibe and feel to it, and also how the conveniences and the lifestyle is structured can vary slightly between each part of this Damansara neighbourhood. And so one thing to consider and to bear in mind throughout this video, my friend, is that when you first arrive in Kuala Lumpur and you're figuring out where to live, you may think that all of these neighbourhoods are pretty similar. But after a few months, and when your kind of routine starts to kick in, that's when you start to see the subtle differences when living in these different parts of the city. And that's something that people only realise later on once they've spent some time here.
Next station, TTDI Deloitte.
Okay, so here we are in our first part of the neighbourhood that we are experiencing today. And this place is known as Taman Tun Dr. Ismail. I hope my pronunciation is correct. Also known as TDDI. That's the most kind of common acronym that it's known as. Here we are on one of the main streets of this neighbourhood. And as you can see here in TDDI, we are surrounded by many shops and many conveniences from the get-go. And where I'm filming right now is one of the main roads through the neighbourhood. Correct me if my pronunciation is a bit wrong here, but the name of this road is Jalan Tun Neighbourhood. And you are surrounded by places of convenience, whether you want to nip out to get a quick breakfast from a local spot. You have curry houses and little mamak stores, and all the kind of regular conveniences that you'd like to get from a neighbourhood that you live in. And if I just pan the camera around now, you can see it's full of these little side roads, and also nearby is the Pasar Bazaar, known as the kind of like main market of the neighbourhood here. It's been in operation for a long time, and that is a really great place to come to get I would say, like your groceries and any kind of fresh produce that you'd like to get. And with this type of neighbourhoods, I would say that you wouldn't need to put too much planning into your day-to-day routine if you want to go out and experience places within this little local neighbourhood, because everything is in with such a short, convenient radius. And historically, over the years, this place, it wasn't really designed as a place to become like a lifestyle type of precinct. It kind of just naturally developed into one over the years. And because this place back in the 1970s was little more than a rubber estate, But then over time, it naturally became more of a residential rather than a commercial neighbourhood. And that led to kind of like organic growth of the neighbourhood. I mean, behind me here, yeah, you can see that these are the sub-neighbourhoods of this main road here that you can go down to, and there are a lot of well-established landed properties and quiet, leafy residential streets that make it a really nice and pleasant neighbourhood to live in. And I would say with the idea of living in a leafy residential neighbourhood like this, you may find yourself walking out and about in the neighbourhood a lot more, and the frictions of day-to-day life definitely start to become very manageable. You can build up a nice community here. You'll see the same people walking out and about in the neighbourhoods, maybe during your morning walks, and also the places that you go to for your coffees or your dinners, breakfasts, etc. And there are different green spaces that you can get to. What you might be surprised with is that the Bukit Kiara is actually just further up the ways, where you can find an accessible trail to have a starting point to go for maybe like weekend hikes in the nature, in the rainforest. And so it has that kind of settled feeling because people aren't just passing through, they are choosing this type of neighbourhood as a long-term base to have. And so I would say here that with this neighbourhood, you're going to have a very stable and kind of almost like a very long-term type of lifestyle here. But on the other side of the coin then, things may start to become repetitive after time if you spend your time solely in this neighbourhood, and that's where it's important to get out and about and explore other parts of the city. And so I would say that with this neighbourhood, things feel natural, local, there's a sense of ease to life here, and beautiful leafy streets come to mind with nice kind of townhouses that you can live in and have a lot of space compared to other neighbourhoods in the city. And so as we make our way back up to the main road of Jalan Damansara, have a little think about here when the priority becomes kind of like the conveniences of having everything within a walkable distance of the neighbourhoods. What happens when this becomes the priority instead of focusing on the environment? Okay, welcome to One Utama, and just going to take a seat here, have a little chat about this key destination within this neighbourhood. So yeah, with One Utama here, this is one of the kind of like key lifestyle areas within the whole Damansara district. And I would say that one of the key distinctions of this lifestyle area is that everything seamlessly connects from the MRT into this shopping mall and entertainment area. You can come here and they have all types of services, whether you want to go around the shops or go to the cinema or the bowling alley or attend maybe one of the functions that they put on here. We have Watson's here today putting on some sort of function in the main hall area of the shopping mall. And so I would say with here, you don't just arrive, so to speak, you flow seamlessly between the different parts of this shopping establishment. And like I mentioned before, you have everything here with groceries, cafes, restaurants, gyms, and cinemas and many other places to use. So your kind of whole lifestyle design is in this one area, and this is one of the main areas that I frequent within Kuala Lumpur. I come here regularly. So I would say that if you are going to choose Bandar Utama as your main place to live in Kuala Lumpur, then this shopping district of One Utama will become a very key cornerstone, I would say, of your time that you spend in this neighbourhood, because this really is a central part. It's one of the biggest shopping malls in Malaysia and even Southeast Asia. So yeah, this is a very, very popular place, and let's take a walk and we'll go and check out another part of this shopping mall. And you even have this. Who would have thought a rainforest built into the One Utama shopping mall? So you can come here, enjoy the shops and enjoy the lifestyle side of things there. But also at the same time, without having to leave, you can come here take a break, be amongst the greenery and the calm, and relax. And so I would say here, like even your escape from the urban side of the city, you don't even really need to leave the shopping district because it's all built and contained here within one system. And I like to drop in here every so often, take a load off, relax, and just take a walk around. Kind of feels nice and refreshing to come here. And there's like a little waterfall feature over there that you can kind of sit next to and enjoy. And even further above us here, if you look up, there's kind of like a adventure course up there. So if that's something that you're into and you want to do a little mini adventure course to do something fun, then that is something that you can also go and check out and is readily available here within the shopping mall. And so yeah, I know that I was quite shocked to find this within the shopping mall. I mean, how awesome is this? You've got a little rainforest built into a shopping mall. I've never seen this before anywhere else. It's quite unique here, and it's definitely something that you can come and check out as a distinct feature of this shopping mall here in Malaysia. So you step outside the mall and it still feels connected. You have the mall on one side and then a beautiful park on the other side. And this is what I meant earlier by everything kind of coming together in one shared space. You have the convenience of the lifestyle on one side and the beauty of the nature of the park on the other. So I would say that, you know, nothing is really random here or unplanned, so to speak. It's a place that you can come to tap into various different aspects of lifestyle, whether you want to go to the shops and have that type of convenience in the mall, or whether you want to go to the park to enjoy the nature, maybe do a bit of exercise, take a walk around the different parts of the park. These are all parts of your lifestyle that you can tap into one area. So let's head up the road and take a walk over to the main entrance of the park here to show you the other side of this neighbourhood of Banda Utama. So I'll see you there. So here we are outside in the Banda Utama Central Park. As you can see in the distance here, we have the One Uta shopping mall, and that goes to show how well they've designed this space with a nice little bit of greenery here to come and relax and enjoy the nature. They have several pathways around the park, so you can do a nice steady walk, or if you want to do a type of cardio jogging workout, then that's also possible. And it's a contrast that I certainly enjoy. They keep this space very well. They have a team that kind of work on making sure that the green space here stays manicured and stays well kept. And it's somewhere that I come to enjoy when I come to One Utama, because I do use this space on a regular basis. This is one of my favourite regions in the whole of Kuala Lumpur. And it's nice just to come here to enjoy the nature and to take a little bit of a walk around before heading back to where I live. And even if you want to go back inside the shopping mall afterwards, it's great, right? Because you can start by going in there, enjoying the conveniences, coming out to the nature, taking a little bit of a walk around. And then, yeah, sure, you can head back in, right? Maybe you need to do some more errands or a little bit of shopping before heading back to where you live. And so Banda Utama, it is a good option to pick if you are thinking about this area as a place to reside. It's a kind of like central area of this part of Kuala Lumpur. You'll also get people from all around the region of Kuala Lumpur coming here to enjoy this wonderful area of the city. Whereas TDDI, on the other hand, feels definitely a lot more residential, a lot more you'll kind of see the same faces around the neighbourhood and you enjoy the same type of places. And perhaps that's the difference between TDDI and Banda Utama in terms of you might get perhaps a wider range of people from different parts of the city, and also maybe people coming in even from outside of Kuala Lumpur to enjoy this area. So I'd say that's the distinction between the two of these types of neighbourhoods. And, you know, it's just kind of what you like out of a neighbourhood, different strokes for different folks. And you can always enjoy different parts of the city. As you can see, the MRT is a great option to access the rest of the city without having to rely too much on driving or using Grab, Bolt, InDrive or the AirAsia Move taxi apps. And with these neighbourhoods on the fringes of Kuala Lumpur, even leading into Petaling Jaya, it's mainly landed properties that you'll find, similar to the other neighbourhood of TDDI. And with this neighbourhood and other neighbourhoods today, this is just kind of like an oversight and a kind of like a sample of the neighbourhoods. And what I have in mind and in store for future videos is to do more of a deeper dive into these individual neighbourhoods for future reference. So just to keep that in mind as you make our way through the rest of the vlog. So let's crack on to the next neighbourhood, head back to the MRT and make our way back onto the public transportation system.
You are now approaching Damansara. Exit to the left door.
Okay, so Damansara, this is the main walkway from the MRT, which I've just left behind me over here, leading through to the main places of the curve. And I think it's called the IPC Mall. So this area was built a bit differently to TDDI and Banda Utama. It was developed later, kind of in the 90s and the 2000s. And this area was built around more like a lifestyle destination with the main points of interest here behind me, which I'm just walking to. And so it was designed around these large retail anchors first, with a very large IKEA mall as well, one of the biggest actually, and these really good retail places and locations to come and explore. It kind of has more of a local feel to it, I would say, in comparison to Banda Utama, where you have that feeling of different people coming from around the city. This area, although it has more of a local feel, I wouldn't say it's more residential first, like TDDI. It's more about the lifestyle as a destination here. All right, my friends, so here we are. We're in the curve, which is kind of like a cool hangout point that people come to. It's a different theme to the shopping mall here. It has kind of like a mix of indoor and outdoor spaces, and here you can see behind me here, this is a kind of like outdoor space that's lined by restaurants and cafes, and it becomes a very popular place, especially at the weekends and in the evenings, for a social hangout. And that's the difference with the Damansara area here, because there's such a pool with the different range of places to hang out and the kind of like social atmosphere of the area. It therefore has a different type of vibe and atmosphere compared to the previous two areas we just explored. And I think it's quite a dynamic place. It's more open. There's different layers to it, different parts to experience. And that's why it's a really good place to come and check out first on the social side of things. Okay, so here we are at the kind of like central section of the mall behind me here. And at this point, all of the parts connect the area known as the street, where we just were, where you'll find all of those stalls and different restaurants to experience. And then you've got kind of like the north side and south side entrance. So opposite me is the south side, which then leads out to the IPC Mall. So this is kind of like behind me here, the main center point of the curve. And it works as like a kind of great reference point to kind of come in, start in this area here, and then you can go and explore the other areas throughout this kind of district of Kuala Lumpur. And where do people mostly live when they reside in this area? Well, they don't. They actually live in other parts of the neighbourhoods within a short distance of coming to Damansara. And it's mainly condos that people stay in, rather than those landed houses or residences that I explained in TDDI and Banda Utama. And there's a lot of different options in terms of condos if you want to live close by to this area and to have this as kind of like a regular place to hang out and to socialise. And so Damansara, come and check it out. It's well located, close to the MRT. As you can see, I walked through the different areas to get to here. It's covered all the way into the shopping mall area. And yeah, there's a lot of really nice local places to come and check out here. I really like it here. I like to kind of split my time between Banda Utama and also Damansara, because you kind of get the best of both worlds, I'll say, so to speak. You've got the grand scale of Banda Utama with a really large shopping mall and lots going on there, lots to experience. And here, you kind of got a more local feel. You kind of feel like the people that come here regularly live locally in the area nearby. Even if there aren't areas to live immediately within the area here, you can live a short hop, skip and a jump away and use this as your regular place to hang out, enjoy, spend your day to stay here, you have all of the conveniences that you need while still being within close proximity of Banda Utama and one Utama shopping mall.
Now approaching Suyan IOI Mall Damansara.
Okay, so we've made our way into the IOI Damansara shopping mall. And here I found a lovely little spot outside the back of the mall overlooking the Tropicana Indah neighbourhood. And this is the main area that people reside in if they live around the Syrian MRT part of this Damansara line. And if you take a look here, just grab the camera, you can see it's really lovely and green. Behind us here is a beautifully manicured golf course. And this is the type of experience that you can have in terms of the space that you start to find as you make your way out to the suburban parts of this part of Kuala Lumpur, because this is now technically in Petaling Jaya. And so the first thing to notice about Syrian is how easily connected everything is into the MRT. You literally arrive and you just go straight into the different parts of the Syrian neighbourhood, where you can go and make your way into the mall, go to the supermarket, maybe pop by and use the gym. And so yeah, it kind of feels like everything happens within one system at this location along the Damansara neighbourhood. And the area around the MRT anyway, of this Syrian neighbourhood was built around the 2010s, and it was built to kind of be around the MRT of Syrian, but we still have the other neighbourhoods of Tropicana Indah behind us here. So it is kind of like a interesting neighbourhood with a mixture of landed houses further down, a little bit further away, maybe 10 to 15 minutes drive away from the Syrian MRT, but also across the roads we have Sunway Giza, which is like another type of open air shopping mall that we'll go and check out, and also the Strand, which is another area of conveniences, and that's just these both are across the ways from the main road of IOI Damansara. And so everything in this neighbourhood is very easy and accessible to experience in your regular routine. All right, my friends, so as we leave the IOI Damansara mall behind us here, just wanted to have a quick interlude to show you how convenient everything is here. So try not to get too close to the main road here, it's going to completely put the audio out of whack. But as you can see, this is the main road behind us here, with the MRT above us. And behind us here is the Sunway Private Hospital. It's a medical group here in Kuala Lumpur. They've got various different hospitals around KL and maybe even other parts of Malaysia, I'm not sure. You have to fact check that one. And further over in the distance is another shopping mall called the Strand. So that's again another place that's full of loads of conveniences. And as we take a walk along the main road here, just pan around again, I can see the main signages of the key areas of this neighbourhood to get to. So Tropicana, Damansara Indah. I can also see Mutiara Damansara, where we just were before. And then it also connects you to the toll road I can see here. So Ipoh, the Klang Valley, and even Johor Bahru, JB. So yeah, this is a very well connected and convenient place to reside if you are going to stay here, because you can kind of see that everything is built into one system here. You've got the Sunway Specialist Medical Centre over here, another shopping mall over in the distance. I can see Anytime Fitness as well, and the IOI Damansara shopping mall, which is a really nice shopping mall. I think lots of good restaurants, different cool places to hang out. You can even hang out and relax up on one of the rooftops in the nature. So okay, so behind me here we have the Sunway Giza Mall, and as you can see, it's a very airy, open and cool place to come to. It's completely covered, as you can see above me here, with shade, and got these really big kind of fans going on all around. So yeah, it's a really nice place to come actually. It gets a bit more busy in the late afternoon and evenings, especially around the local area. There's a lot of really good local restaurants that you can go to. So yeah, you should come and check this place out if you get the chance. It's got a lot of natural light here and a lot of the regular conveniences and shops and restaurants that you would see across other places in Kuala Lumpur. So yeah, I'll just pan the camera around again one more time so you can see. This is like the general vibe of Sunway Giza. So in these neighbourhoods here, everything is really conveniently located within a short circumference, but what happens if you move further out of the city. And instead of everything being within a short radius of itself, what happens when you start to go to an area and location where things are more spread out?
Next station, you are now approaching Kota Damansara, Thompson Hospital. Exit to the left door.
All right, so standing here by the main road and the MRT station of Kota Damansara. Main features that you can see here are those big main wide roads. We've got the MRT line behind me going into the distance. You may arrive here and you may not see kind of like a big central focal point of the neighbourhood to explore for the day. This is actually one of the main areas to live in the whole of Damansara in terms of residential districts. And most people who live here don't really live on the main roads next to the MRT station. They are inside the kind of back streets in the main residential areas that have a lot of landed homes. And naturally, being a kind of area further out of the suburbs towards the edge of the Damansara district, this area kind of centred around more of a priority of having space, rather than having everything located just within one walkable area. But one convenient thing to be aware of is you do have the Thompson Private Hospital here right next to the MRT station. And this is a great convenience to have right next to the MRT. And they have other conveniences in there as well, little shops, cafes, etc. So that is one thing to be aware of in terms of this township. And just up the road there is a school and a university. So you do have things within the short radius of the MRT, but further up the way, further up the street from the MRT, Empress. This is a newer area that has a lot of different kind of shop lots behind the building on the other side, which I will show you in a minute. And then also at the same time, there's cafes, businesses, and even a residence here. But I would say it's not on such a big grand scale compared to other parts of the Damansara area, such as the Wanutama, but they're kind of like dispersed and more spread out in the neighbourhood. And anyway, even if you want to do a big shop, if you live in this neighbourhood, you have got the Sunway Giza nearby and also the NSK Trade City location where you have like kind of almost like a little wet market layout. I like to use NSK for my grocery shopping in 3 Damansara, but you do have these things conveniently located just one subway stop away. But one thing to be aware of is because everything isn't structurally centred in one location of the neighbourhood, so to speak, you'll have to kind of organise your day a bit more perhaps, and especially it may be more of an advantage to have your own vehicle in terms of like a car to get around these different parts of the neighbourhood and to be able to get to the different locations that you need to perhaps get to in your day-to-day life. And in terms of links and connectivity, it is quite a strategic location to have here. You have the main big access roads. I mean, you can see generally in the neighbourhood you do have a lot of bigger roads here to be able to access the various points of the north of Kuala Lumpur and also further into the Klang Valley and even the other points of the Damansara neighbourhood that we've explored so far. And I would say that the social dynamic does change a little bit here. You have less expats, especially compared to other areas such as Mont and even other parts of the Damansara area such as TDI. So then on the flip side, you have more longer term residents and also families residing in the area. And so yeah, I would say the difference here is there may be more of a chance that your life will become perhaps a bit more grounded in this type of neighbourhood. And there might even be more of a chance of this place becoming even more of a longer term base. If you want a place that has a lot more open roads, a lot more space, and even one thing that I noticed about being here is that you do have these really big open roads, but they don't really feel too busy or too crowded or too congested. So yeah, it's kind of like, I would say that's one of the key aspects that I noticed about being here so far. As I just pan the camera around here, you can see this is the area behind this building where they have a lot of shop lots, and I would say, yeah, regular services that you'll find in these type of neighbourhoods of Kuala Lumpur. Seen kind of a few familiar names and chains of shops that you'll find, and also those kind of regular mamak stores and curry houses and those types of places. So yeah, you do have these different types of areas dotted around the Kota Damansara district. Just to be aware that there is the Kota Damansara Forest Reserve nearby as well. So that is a short drive away. I'll pin it just here, and in terms of the location. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with nature, find a place to go for a trek and a hike and this type of thing, then that is a good place to go to. And that's what Kota Damansara is really about here. It's more space, things are more spread out, and it's a place where people do reside in the long term. And if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, it might be a good option for you. All right, so now I've gone through the whole part of this line leading up to Kota Damansara area, and now it's time to make our way back to where the journey all started. Because once you've seen all of this, my friends, that's when the bigger picture starts to make sense. And we're back in Sementan. This is the main transportation point that I use regularly in Kuala Lumpur and my starting point for this whole video today. And so we've just done the whole kind of like outer stretch of the suburbs of Damansara, TDDI, Banda Utama, Mutiara Damansara, Syrian, and also Kota Damansara. I didn't include Sementan, Pusat Banda Damansara and Filio Damansara in this neighbourhood guide because those are kind of like more centrally connected neighbourhoods along the Damansara stretch. I wanted to keep it kind of like this, the outer edges and the suburbs of this part of the city. And so that's the thing, they can all look quite similar on the map, but actually when you break it down and you've actually spent time in all of these different places, they do have their slight nuances. TDDI, you can think outdoor walking, cafes, and a very original laid-back neighbourhood vibe there. Banda Utama, very centric around the One Utama shopping mall and quite structured around that area in general. Mutiara Damansara, maybe slightly more social and going out more in that area of the Curve and the IPC mall. Syrian, kind of being contained in one space, but also having that other part of the neighbourhood of Tropicana Indah. And then Kota Damansara, the most kind of far out suburban neighbourhood there with more space and things more kind of spread out. And so if you are considering this Damansara part of Kuala Lumpur as the place that you're going to live, take a bit of time to walk amongst those different neighbourhoods that we explored in this video, right? Each place has its own unique thing going on. On the surface level, they may look pretty similar, but actually once you spend time in them, they do have their slight differences. And so, you know, just bear in mind that idea and think about your lifestyle, your habits, your routines, the things that matter to you in your day-to-day life. And that will help you make the best informed decision based on what you want from a place to live here in Kuala Lumpur. And so, my friend, that is the Damansara side of the Kuala Lumpur neighbourhood here. Many different options to choose from. Come and check it out. You know, it may be a place that you want to spend some more time in or may consider even living in the future. So this is Mr. Henner signing off here, and I'll see you in the next one.